Yay. Hi, YouTube. Thank you so much for coming to my next live stream. I am super, super excited to be here and to talk about this video today. I hope everyone had a fantastic weekend and was able to do something fun that you enjoy with your family. I am going back to the office tomorrow for the first time in 2 weeks since getting sick. So I'm not excited about getting on the bus in the dark and the cold, but I'm excited about getting back to my normal life now that I'm not sick anymore and I can go out and do things again. So I'm really, really excited to see my new coworkers and everything. So I can't wait for that. Hi, Rich. Thank you for joining, Rich. It's great to see you here. Hi, DC. Thank you for joining and fantastic job in that live the other day with Echo Echo and the Clarentown and Karina. You guys were all fantastic. Great job. So today I'm excited to talk about a video from someone named Evan Carmichael. Right? Yeah. Called Everyone Starts at the Bottom, Rich DeVos's Top 10 Rules for Success. So this is not a video just about from one Rich DeVos speech. This person is picking out bits and pieces from different speeches that Rich has done in the past and then is making them into his top 10 favorite tips for success. And it's pretty interesting because it's a lot of the same narrative and information that we hear from current day MLM people as well. Mark says, hi from Victoria. Hi, Mark. Thank you for joining. Live Panic says, hi, Heather. Hi, Live Panic. Thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. It's awesome that you're here. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm really, really excited because I love talking about Rich. And I feel like there's less videos. I haven't seen a lot of videos from Jay before. Like, I've looked for videos from the other founder, and I can't really seem to find many speeches. Maybe Rich was the one that, like, was in more of the public eye. And similarly, like, his son Doug seems to be really in the public eye and actively involved in Amway, and the other son doesn't seem to be as involved. So Amway is really creepy. Yes, Mark, I agree completely. You have great videos. Oh, that's good. I'm happy you like them, and I'm happy you're enjoying listening to my opinions on these scams. I really, really appreciate that. So I'm really excited, and so let me know your thoughts and what you think about everything Mr. DeVos is saying.
Those who can overcome the obstacles, rise up when difficulties arise, are the ones who win the prize. Everybody starts at the bottom. And there is no advantage to starting 10 years ago as opposed to starting today. In fact, it's better today than it was then. Action.
So already he's telling us that those who can overcome are the ones who win the prize. And we hear that all the time. If you can overcome challenges in your business, if you can overcome times when you lose rank or you lose income, then you will eventually find success. So that's already echoed in current MLM narrative already, and it's been 17 seconds. Also, oh my God, what was the other one? It doesn't matter when you join. If you join today or 10 years ago, it doesn't matter. We all start at the same place. We know that's not true. We know people who joined Amway in the 50s would have had an easier time recruiting and building a big team than those who joined it in the 80s and those who joined it in the 90s and the early 2000s and so on. So, Rich, that's not true, sir. All the MLMs are the same. Sorry. Yes, exactly. You're right. They're all exactly the same in the sense that you need to recruit and you need to sell products. But the other layer in Amway, of course, is there's the whole tool scam as well, where people who are at the top of the pyramid made the majority of their money through selling motivational tools. How can you lie to people? Exactly, Mark. 17 seconds in and already in need of debunking, right? Yeah, totally. We're going to be debunking a lot of stuff.
Is determined by your attitude.
Okay, let's just rewind to the beginning of this part because this is worth debunking as well. Oh, sorry, guys. Okay, whatever.
In fact, it's better today than it was then. Action is determined by your attitude, and attitude is determined by your atmosphere.
Attitude is determined by your atmosphere. So just like Mr. Eric Worre says, we have to weed the garden. He literally told us to weed the garden and only have positive people around us who want to push us to be better, who want to challenge us, and who also they have to make money, because if people around us aren't making a lot of money, then we're going to become just like them, because we are the average of the 5 people we hang out with, right? Okay. Yay, my fave YouTuber is on. Aw, that's nice. I'm happy that you're here. Thank you for joining. Rich says an impressive feat, right? I've been yapping for a while already, and it's only been 25 seconds. Emma is like the gold rush. Most of the money was made from selling tools. Yes, you are right. And I learned that in our first ever Amway stream on this channel, when pretty sure you were one of them too, who was telling me about the tool scam. And then I did a bit of research myself. And yeah, you're right.
An American businessman, co-founder of Amway, and owner of the Orlando Magic basketball team. At one point, he was one of the 10 wealthiest Americans. He has an estimated net worth of $5.1 billion. He's Rich DeVos, and here's my take on his top 10 rules for success.
Sorry, this is 5 years ago, and Rich DeVos, unfortunately, is no longer with us. So this is an old video. What did Rich say? Rich said, no, reality does not bend to your well wishes, other Rich. That's funny. Okay.
Number 5 is my personal favorite, and I'd love to know which one you guys like the best. And as always, guys, if you hear something that really resonates with you, please leave it down in the comments below. Put quotes around it as well so other people can be inspired. Also, when you write it down, you're much more likely to lock it in for yourself as well. Enjoy.
I'm sorry to be pausing every 2 seconds. Writing your goals down so you can manifest it into reality is also a big thing in modern day MLM. That's Tony Robbins. So who is this guy? Maybe we need to research Evan Carmichael. Who is this guy? Why does he have Tony Robbins on his channel? I wonder, right?
You are a part of something that transcends all the details of your business. It's a part of demonstrating that free enterprise works, that somebody can start with a $50 sales kit and build a large business. You prove it every day that it works. And you prove it by overcoming the obstacles that you have to deal with. There are all sorts of people who want to break your faith. Sometimes they're in your own family. And sometimes they're just so-called good friends who think you're crazy for doing what you're doing. But you see, you have decided to take charge of your life. You have decided that you are going to change it. You're not going to wait for the government. You're not going to wait for some school or something else to happen. You are going to change your situation.
A lot of what he's saying is reasonable advice in day-to-day life. If we didn't know that he is an Amway co-founder, taking charge of your life and wanting to change your situation, that's great and wonderful. And it's important to take responsibility for your actions and your behavior. And if you're unhappy with something, trying to take the necessary steps to change your situation. However, there's a lot of privilege that comes with being able to change. Like, say you're unhappy with your job, then you could potentially go back to school, right? And get a diploma, get a degree. So that you can't do that unless you have the finances to do that. If you happen to have kids, you can't do that unless you have a spouse or a partner who's able to watch your kids while you're in school. You probably can't go back to school unless you have another source of income for your household, correct? So there's a lot of privilege around changing your life if you're unhappy with it. And he was saying your so-called friends who are worried about you joining this business, I don't like how he's phrasing people who are showing concern for your well-being as like so-called good friends. Just because someone doesn't appreciate your Amway business does not mean that they're not good friends. So I have missed a lot of comments as I was talking. Let me go up to the top. Hey, Todd. Heather, have you seen the book Profiles of Success? This book pretty much sums up Amway. No, I have not, but maybe I'll look into it. Thank you, Todd. Tony Robbins is a crook. Yes, agreed. We don't like Tony here. They're hijacking actual good note-taking recommendations for learning. Totally. Oh, I missed so many comments. Woo! Sorry about that. 50% Tony's bus is in the MLMs. Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. A lot of these like motivational speakers make so much money from talking in MLMs, speaking at MLM conferences. Sorry, I can't talk. Amway made Robert Kiyosaki before Amway placing Robert on their book list. He was nothing. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Mark says Rich is a professional con man. Yeah, at the time, definitely for sure. But let's just remember, like, he's not didn't do great ethical things, but he's still unfortunately passed away. So let's just make sure we are staying as respectful as we can in the comments, if that's okay. So DC said, I think there are scholarships and funds available for lower income students too. Of course. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's really easy for people to say, go change your life if you're unhappy, because people do experience a lot of like barriers to actually changing their life. And it's just harder than simply just changing it. You know what I mean? Okay, Rich Dad Poor, all Amway IBOs tell their downline to read that. Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's a really popular MLM book, eh? Okay, I am missing so many comments here. Mark said, rest in peace, Rich. Yeah, and I totally understand. Like he, of course, his whole family and the Devos, or the whatever the other family, like they participate in a lot of unethical behavior. But yeah, I just want to make sure that I'm as respectful as I can be for him. Yeah, thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. Okay.
That's what free enterprise is all about. Jay and I decided to do that, I don't know, over 50, 60 years ago. We started in this kind of business in 1949. I was 23. All I know is this business.
23 years old when he started Nutrilite? That's crazy. I was a baby when I was 23.
I spent my life at it. It's been pretty good. But it wasn't always easy. Business isn't. Life isn't. But to those who can overcome the obstacles, rise up when difficulties arise, are the ones who win the prize. I recently picked up a book by a Dr. Norman Doidge, D-O-I-D-G-E. He's a brain guy, psychiatrist. And he, in his studies, has said, I can confirm to you the power of positive thinking scientifically. Because so many people ridicule that whole idea of positive thinking. I can show you positively that turning yourself into a positive thinker will change your brain and how it functions and how you think about yourself and what you can accomplish. Now, it's been laughed at in most of my life, and people say, oh, that's just wishful thinking. Well, I don't think it's wishful thinking. Norman didn't think it was wishful thinking. His was all biblically based. And Bob Schuller did pretty good with it. I did pretty good with it.
So I called this video like Change Your Brain with Rich, because he's right that thinking positively can change the way that you see the world and the way you interact with it. However, in MLM, you are taught to change your way of thinking, change how your brain functions ultimately, and just see things in a different way, react to things in a different way, and literally change your brain. And in day-to-day life, it's good to think positively and to have a more positive outlook, but it's also important to just feel your negative emotions when they come up and express them, so you're not holding those negative feelings in and you're like redirecting your energy. And so thinking positively in day-to-day life is fine and wonderful, but in the context of MLM, it is not fine and wonderful. And we know that it really is really a toxic thing within this context. So Todd, if you want, I think I don't know if I put my YouTube email in this description, but I have it in my other videos, and you can send me that clip if you want, and I can see if I want to make it into a video. That would be great. Okay. Mark says you have to be a good person. Exactly. Thinking positively about Amway will cost you your money, family, and friends, right? Yes, you are right. And in a lot of MLMs, right? Amway's positive thinking has caused millions of people to lose money. Yes. And people in MLM say, you have nothing to lose. You have nothing to lose. Well, we have our money to lose. We have our time. We have memories with our kids and our spouse. We have our hobbies. We have a lot to lose by joining an MLM. That's a great point.
Starting at the bottom on Amway is wherever you are today. Everybody starts at the bottom. And there is no advantage to starting 10 years ago as opposed to starting today. In fact, it's better today than it was then. Our products are better, our line is better, our plan is better, it's more proven. It's a better plan today than when we started. And sometimes there are no answers as to whether you want to be in business or would like to be in business. You just got to put your toe in the water. You know, if you're going to wait till you know everything, you'll never do anything. And you always say, well, I got to check some more. I'm going to do a little more research. So go ahead, just keep going. And you'll never get into business. You're going to go swimming, you got to get wet, you know. And then you find the people who got a button for having a business of their own and want to do their own thing and like the chance to build a big business. Well, you got to have that dream. That's why the people talk about having a dream. Well, you got to have a little bit of a dream. And then you say, I'll go out and get customers. You know, I got a big chance to build a really big thing. I'm going to go out and get some customers. When you start something new, it's not easy. But life is easier when you got a business and you're making some money. Makes it a little easier.
You're not going to make any money in Amway, sir, and you know that as the founder. So again, what he's saying is reasonable and fair in day-to-day life. You don't want to overthink everything so much that you just end up not doing anything, right? However, it is important to do your due diligence when you're taking on a new venture. If you are thinking about starting a new job, you are going to do research maybe into that company. You're going to look on LinkedIn for reviews. You're going to see what people say about the compensation. And that's a totally reasonable thing to do. But in MLM, they don't want you to do research, because if you do, you are going to see all of the anecdotal evidence about how MLMs are a pyramid scheme. You're going to see in-depth data and statistics from different governmental organizations about why MLM is a pyramid scheme. So of course, Rich DeVos is going to tell you just to jump in, or else you're never going to do it, because he doesn't want you to see all of the negative press that his company gets. Which is why I found it so interesting when Dominic Izzo was telling people that they have to research the MLM industry, because like, why would you want people to see that, right? Okay. Oh, that book, Profile of Success. My father used to take that book everywhere with him. Which book do you mean? Is it called Profile of Success? Maybe I'll look into that. Thank you. Amway is in decline. There has never been a worse time to join Amway. Oh, yeah, for sure. I feel like Amway's probably been in a decline for a long time. Amway peaked in Australia when they had 108,000 IVOs in 1993. Wow. Amway is not just in decline in Australia, it is in decline all over the world. Yeah, because more and more people are becoming more educated on it, for sure, and there's more negative attention.
So stick with it. Find a way through it. Just find out an answer. It works, folks. This business works for those who work it.
That is the most popular MLM phrase nowadays. It works if you work it. So you just got to work. You just got to do what your upline tells you to do, and it will just magically work, and you'll make all the money.
Now I want to spend a little time on a kind of an old subject, and yet it's new in some ways, but it deals with the fear of failure that affects all of us. And I know you've come here with hopes and faith in your future, but back there is a little bit of fear about whether you can do it or what somebody will say about you.
So in normal life, fear is normal. It's an average part of day-to-day life. If you're starting a new job, if you're going to a new social interaction, if you are driving far away by yourself for the first time, if you're driving in the winter and you're not used to it, fear is a normal part of your life. At least in my opinion, it's a normal part of mine. However, that kind of fear is different than the fear of wondering if you're joining a pyramid scheme and wondering if you are harming your relationships with your family and friends.
Sometimes we have people come to a meeting like this who are even afraid to tell their friends they came to an Amway meeting for fear.
I wonder why people are afraid. I wonder why, because your company is a scam and everyone knows it. And you don't want your distributors to be hanging out with people who question it, because then they'll start to question it and then people will be leaving your company and you won't make as much money. Fear is natural, exactly. But fear of joining a pyramid scheme is not natural.
Fear of what they will say. And so we are so driven by fear that sometimes we never do anything because we're fear of what somebody else will say. And what happens when you do that is you give control of your life over to someone else. And then they decide what's going to happen to you instead of you deciding. Now we have the fear of failure, the fear of what other people will say, the fear of rejection, the fear of change. Now, the first thing we must.
I recently started a new job where it was like really out of my comfort zone, in a new sector, a new field, doing things I'm not used to doing. And some of this stuff is relevant to day-to-day life. Like if I had said, no, I'm too scared, I'm not going to be good in my job, I'm too scared about this change, I'm not going to do it, I'm going to stay in my current job where I'm unhappy, then I am literally handing over control of my life to someone else by letting my fear get in the way. However, that's different. Fear of change in your day-to-day life is different than fearing being in a pyramid scheme and fearing for your relationships with your spouse and your friends and your family, and missing your hobbies, missing your workout routine because all you're doing is Amway. Those things are very different. I say that because I have a video that I want to talk about at some point where someone is telling us, if you want to be a diamond in did my stream just stop? I hope you guys can still see me. Sorry. If you want to be a diamond in Amway, you have to just like stop all your hobbies, don't go to the gym, and just focus on your Amway business. Hopefully, I didn't disappear forever. Let me know if you guys can still see me. Sorry about that.
Do is deal with change and learn to accept the fact that things are changing fast. And so, to illustrate how to handle change, I thought since I hadn't been here in 8 years, I would give you a little Amway history so you would see how we handle change.
Thank you, Mark, for letting me know that you can still see me. I appreciate that.
When Jay Van Andel and I started our first business, we started a flying school. Now, that was a change, but the important thing is that neither one of us knew how to fly. And so when you consider doing something new, you say, oh, I can't do it. I've never done this. But we didn't let our not flying stop us from starting. We just began and hired instructors and learned from them.
Again, that relates to my life too, because after school, I moved from one side of Canada to the other side of Canada pretty much. And I moved by myself. I moved to a city I've never been before. And I had to figure out like where to live, where the grocery store was, where the bank was, And I navigated a whole new part of the country by myself. And I was adaptable and flexible, and I learned how to handle change very, very quickly. So I think it's potentially really dangerous when he's sitting here talking calmly and reasonably and saying things that could relate to your average person's day-to-day life, but when you apply it to the MLM context, it's potentially really dangerous.
But I said, what it finally comes down to in your business and how you run it is you first and me second. Take that home with you. You first and me second. The first thing you want to do is help your people succeed, and then you succeed. Just keep it in the right order. It's not you succeeding and then hopefully they come out okay. It's all about them, not about you. And I think that was the foundation of our business. You know, Jay and I never talked about how much money we made or how much money we wanted to make. We talked about how big we'd like to have our business, but it was never a personal financial goal. But our focus was on how we could enrich the lives of our people and make them better, oftentimes influencing them with our faith as well. My father was...
I think that is like the biggest bait and switch ever. People are encouraged and drawn to join Amway and drawn in from the promise that you can make lots and lots of money and you'll eventually be able to quit your job and stay home with your kids and have $1 million business from your phone. And then when you get into these companies and you're not making any money and you say, hey, upline, I'm not making any money, even though I'm doing exactly what you asked me to do, then they're going to turn it back on you and be like, well, why are you focusing on money? You're being selfish. You should focus on impact and helping the people below you make money because that's how you make money. However, in my opinion, I don't think your members of your downline need to make any money. They just need to be able to get to a certain rank, maintain the rank, and then that's how you maintain your rank. So I think it's just a way of like tricking people once they're in. Oh, well, we never told you you could make good money here. We never said that. Why are you upset that you're going into debt? You know? Thank you so much for reporting on Amway. It is bizarre the way that the other anti-MLMers ignore Amway when it's clearly the most damaging MLM and by far the biggest. You're welcome. It's been lots and lots of fun. I think a big part about why it's not covered a whole lot is because there's not a lot of like publicly available content on YouTube and definitely not Instagram about this company. And so I think it probably strangely just falls under the radar. And I think if more content was available, we would see a lot more big content creators talking about it more. Does that make sense? Money can be evil for sure. MA doesn't use social media, so there's not much content out there. Exactly, I agree. But it would be great to see people with like thousands and thousands of subscribers covering Amway more. That would be cool because then more people would learn about it.
A very positive guy. You know, yeah, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. That was his line. And that was like, you know, people say, oh, I can't do that. He was the one who said, yes, you can.
This one's probably a lot more recent because he looks a lot older here. I feel like the other ones we saw might have been from like the early 2000s. Also, I'm sorry for coughing so much. I coughed like twice today. Then, of course, the second I start the video, I'm coughing. Sorry about that.
Didn't accept from me a no, or I can't do it. He said he would get on me hard about even saying it, even thinking you can't do it. I graduated as class president finally, so I had to speak at the commencement, and he helped me put my speech together. It turned out to be pretty good. One woman came up to me and said, you know, you were a lot better than the minister we had who was our guest speaker. That little phrase, that little experience really encouraged me to keep at it on the speaking side. His encouragement to me led me to build a life around encouraging others. And so that's what I've done. Attitude.
I think that kind of narrative makes it seem like all you need is to encourage your people, encourage your downline, and then they can kind of like manifest their success into existence. So as long as you say, "Oh, downline, you're amazing. Just keep pushing," then they're going to stay in the business and continue doing all the tasks that you need them to do, and then they will help you maintain your rank. I think that's just an example of like modern day manifestation, writing out positive sayings and inspirational quotes to help yourself stay focused on your business. Where's my mouse? The reason why anti-MLMers do not report on Amway is because there's an Amway rule that does not allow IBOs to promote their businesses on social media and YouTube. Ooh, interesting, interesting. I did not know that. If an IBO makes a video on YouTube about Amway, they would be kicked out of Amway. So, how do they recruit people? Like your modern day Amway distributor, how would they find people to join their team? How can you lie to your fellow man? Yeah, like Rich is lying here a lot and being very deceitful and dishonest and not obviously dishonest either. Like he sounds like he's just having a nice, normal conversation with someone. And again, I think that kind of delivery could make it more dangerous because then you really have to pay more attention to understand where it's unethical and where it's manipulative.
And action, and atmosphere. You want to take the correct action. Action is determined by your attitude. And attitude is determined by your atmosphere. Always put yourself in an atmosphere where you have a chance to succeed. Put yourself in the presence of people who think like you, who want to get ahead like you, and will lift you up. So not only am I encouraging you to use phrases of encouragement, but to be an encourager, but to hang around with people who do that.
And when you deal with your people and you bring in,
I hate the very toxic narrative that you have to hang out with people who want to push you to become a better person, who want to be constantly improving themselves. I don't think our friends have to have a deeper purpose other than just being our friends. Why can't we just have a friend who is happy and content where they are, even if they're working part-time at a grocery store during school and they're happy with where they are? Why do we need to have friends who are Rich's version of what's the word? What am I trying to think of? Like ambitious. There you go. Like, why do all of our friends need to be ambitious? And why do our friends need to serve a higher purpose other than just being nice to us and respecting us? That's not a requirement for me when I have my friends. Like, I just want my friends to be nice to me and to want to talk to me and see me on an occasional basis. Okay, the only way you can recruit someone into Amway is to literally walk around shops prospecting someone. Oof. Ooh, that's interesting. I would love to know about like the kind of scripts that people were given and how they were taught to actually connect with strangers out in public like that. That's interesting. Lying about mentorships. Oh, so when people would prospect in the stores, were they encouraged to lie about the kind of mentorship that they would give? Is that what you mean? These people are far from your friend. Yes, exactly. You're right.
new one in, it's their success you need, and then you get rewards. That's why people want to take a lot of money out of the sales kit, and it's against the law, first of all, to do that. It's part of our settlement with the government here that we would not put money in the sales kit as a profit.
Does anyone know what that means? It's against the law. It's part of their settlement, and they're not allowed to put money in the sales kit. Does anyone have context on that or like an interesting link about what exactly he means there?
So there's no profit in the act of recruiting. The profit comes when you help that person succeed.
So technically he's not wrong, because I've learned in my research that people in Amway don't necessarily get rich through the recruiting. They get rich through selling the tools and inspirational materials. But you don't have to, in any MLM, you do not have to help other people succeed. I already said this. People below you don't need to be making money. In Beachbody, you can be 15-star diamond, but your 15 diamonds your 15 diamonds, they're probably not making much money. Diamonds and Beachbody do not make good money. Oh, Worldwide got kicked out of Target. What do you mean by Worldwide? Do you mean, wasn't that Bill Britt's business? I might be completely wrong. Can you let me know what you mean? They make money on the kit. Oh, okay, I understand. Okay, Heather, what they do is literally go to a car yard, pretend they want to buy a car, take a business card, then a week or so later, ring them on the phone and say they were so impressed with them. Oof. That is interesting and so predatory. Thank you for telling us that. That's really interesting because, as you guys were saying, we're not going to learn about Amway recruiting methods because, as you guys just said, they're not allowed to put any content on YouTube and share anything about their role in Amway. That's super interesting.
That's a vital foundation principle. Help others first, and then you succeed.
If you want to help others, I said this a million times, you'd be a social worker, a teacher, a therapist, a doctor, a nurse, a firefighter, maybe a police officer, maybe what else? Like an addictions counselor, you'd be like a homeless outreach worker. There's lots of things you can do if you're actually interested in helping people. I'm so sorry for all of my coughing. Jeez. But that they would like to offer them a mentorship with a group of successful entrepreneurs. Oh, I hate that. I hate that so much. Worldwide Dream Builders, part of Bill Britt. Okay, so was that Bill's company, or was he just active in it, or did he found it? Amway prospecting is almost 100% face-to-face. Amway is old school. Oh, interesting. So is that still the same thing now? Because I feel like they still aren't allowed to do much posting on social media. So are the people who join nowadays, are they also told to go out to stores and harass random people, or do they have different kinds of prospecting methods?
Time since I told stories about my boat. But Jay and I bought a schooner, the schooner Elizabeth. And this was the bell off from it. And it's only important because the boat sank. She was kind of a nice old boat, but she leaked a lot.
Oh, his boat sank. That's sad. I hope they weren't out in the lake or the ocean too far, and I hope they were okay.
That was our first big sailing experiences. But we bought it, we went on it, we sank, and have owned many boats since then. You learn from mistakes. You got to start with faith and belief in yourself, but that's something you got to make it your business to do. It's from the heart.
Yes, you learn from your mistakes and you improve for next time so you don't repeat your mistakes, right? But in these MLM businesses, you don't have any control over where you are in your business. You can do everything exactly perfectly and reach out to the number of people your upline wants you to reach out to, make the exact same kind of posts. Not make a single mistake, and you're still not going to make money. And then if that happens, they're going to come at you and say that you didn't have the right mindset, you didn't have the right tone of voice, you didn't write out your copy and paste messages well enough, and that's why you're not succeeding. So again, learn from your mistakes. Really good advice in day-to-day life, but then when you apply it to the MLM context, it is gaslighty, in my opinion, because someone could make $0 in MLM, but not make a single mistake and do everything exactly the way they're told to do. So this is a clip from a Rich video that we did a long time ago, so it might sound familiar.
That we derive our emotions and our energy to take on and meet new challenges. This is a business where your heart has to be in it, and you have to believe that you can do it and overcome the resistance and the influence of others to move forward.
So again, if you don't succeed, it's because you don't have the heart for this business and you're not mentally strong enough to be able to overcome the opposition and the negativity. Again, something that is not quantifiable and is impossible to actually prove, in my opinion, therefore gaslighting the poor people in Amway who are doing their best, and then they're going to sit there and wonder like, "Oh, do I actually not have the right heart for this business? Oh, this is actually my fault." In my opinion, it's just victim blaming. Worldwide had a large tool business. Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. There was this I wish I could remember the channel name. He had like an hour and a half video going through the whole history of the Amway tool scam, and it was fascinating.
Have a good heart for this business and find out what you can do. Most all of you will discover you can do things you never thought you could do. You can advance farther than you ever thought you could advance once you put your heart into believing that you can do that.
So as long as you have the right heart in your Amway business, you will advance in your business, you will make lots of money, and you will achieve all your wildest dreams. And if you don't, it's not because we are knowingly scamming you, it's because you don't have the heart. You're somehow deficient, and it's your fault. So sad.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I made this video because Chris Westcott asked me to. So if there's a famous entrepreneur that you want me to profile next, leave it down in the comments below and I'll see what I can do. I'd also love to know, what did Rich say that had the biggest impact on you? What are you going to take from this video and immediately apply to your life, your business somehow? Leave it down in the comments below and I'm going to join in the discussion. Finally, I want to give a quick shout out to Bite Size Lessons by Mr. Mo. Thank you so much for picking up a copy of my book, Your One Word, and making that awesome cartoon and posting it to your Instagram page. I really, really, really appreciate it and hope you're enjoying the book. So thank you guys again for watching. I believe in you. I hope you continue to believe in yourself and whatever your one word is. Much love. I'll see you soon.
Keep it on. Keep on. That's all. There's always tough periods in any business, in any life, in any time. And that doesn't mean anything except you got to work your way around it and work your way through it. It doesn't say you review your plans, figure out what you might have done right or different, and then get on with it. If everybody quit when things were not quite favorable, well, then nobody would get anywhere. But if you want to get somewhere, the best time is when it's bad, so that while everybody else is crying, you're working. And you build your business.
Again, that's a big narrative in MLM nowadays where like you can't stop when it's hard. You have to keep pushing or else like you're never going to find success, and like everything's hard. You have challenges all the time in your day-to-day life, and you can't quit when things get hard. That's when you have to lean in more. Okay. I think you're thinking of Scott Johnson. He has a lot of videos about the history of the Amway tool scam. I don't think it was Scott Johnson. I think it was Sean something. I might look into it and maybe I'll post it. But yeah, it was Sean something. And he had a whole channel of like different history videos. And it was mostly on American history. Yeah. They hired Bob Hope. Who's Bob Hope? It sounds familiar, but I don't know who that is. Anyway, so that's all I have for today. That was very, very fun. And it was really fun to talk about Rich. I really enjoy talking about not just like the distributors, but like the presidents or the CEOs and the owners of these companies, because I feel like that's where the distributors are getting their false information and are learning the bad behavior is from the people at the very, very top who own the companies and push a specific narrative. So I really appreciate everyone who joined live and all these people who commented, and it was really, really fun. And I hope you all enjoyed the conversation today. And maybe you noticed that a lot of his points are very common MLM narratives now. Like it's not about you making money. You have to focus on helping people, and you can't quit when things get hard. You have to lean in more. I think it's really like the narratives now, like especially when I heard Dexter Yeager speak, I was like, people say that all the time now. People say that all the time now. And especially Rich, I think like his words are mirrored in current day MLM speak, in my opinion. Awesome work again. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks, Heather. Great live. Thank you for coming, Rich. I appreciate that. Thank you, Live Panic. I loved this live, Heather. You are the best anti-MLMer there is. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for coming. I really, really appreciate that. That's a super nice thing for you to say. So I'm done for now, and I'm going to go live again on Tuesday at 4:45 my time, and then again on Friday at 4:45 my time. So if you're able to join live, that would be great. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.